Hi, I'm Chris Palmer at FARO and welcome to this tutorial video. In this video we're going to look at the latest updates to Webshare Cloud version 2.2, creating some annotations and measurements, and then syncing those updates back to your scene project. So I'm just going to open up a demonstration project here, and the information page here gives us some data about the project. If I just open this up and go to the overview map, you will see in version 2.2 we now have an action bar to the bottom left corner, and that includes a new panorama view icon which will open up a mini view in the top left corner. So you can see we've got a side-by-side view of the 2D panorama view but also the overview map. With the top button here we can switch these around, so we now have the overview map in the top left corner, and we can expand the mini view as well. So we can swap those back, and if I just want to close down now using the bottom button, the mini view. With version 2.2 we also now have the ability to annotate an area rather than a particular point. So you can see using the set area button I can just select a small area, for example this tank. If we just go down now and we can give this some information, so we can set a colour for the area, so let's make this red. We can give a description, so we'll say here tanks to be removed, call this tank 1. We can add some links in if we want to, and most importantly we can go and set some categories, so we can call this replacements, and we can also put some tags against these annotations, so call this tanks. Okay, you can see that appears now. So we've got that red area of the tank we highlighted. Back in the action bar we can change the visibility of the scan data in the background, and we can also turn that off so that we can differentiate between the annotations in the scan itself. We can also zoom in and out here, and if we pan off we can snap back to the center. So let's just go and open up one of these particular panorama views now in the 2D view. So if we just pan around now, we'll go and find an object that we need to annotate. So let's just choose this incomplete valve. We're just going to put an annotation on here now, just with a fixed position. We're going to give this a name, so we can just call this valve 1. Again, put a description in, so valve to be complete. We can then go and add some links in again to anything on a box.com account, and we just need to give this a tag as well, or a category as well. So we'll call this one repairs, and we will tag this one valves. This gives us the ability to differentiate between the different annotations and measurements that we are putting in the cloud. So that's one more annotation in there now, so let's go and put a dimension in. So for example, if we look at this pipe, let's take a small measurement of pipe. I'm just going to go to measure distance. I'm just going to pick 2 points here, and I'm going to give this a name, so we'll call this one replacement pipe. So we'll call this replacement pipe length, and we can just save this and also give this a category, so we can put this in one of the existing categories. So we'll put this in the repairs category, and we'll give this a tag of pipe. Okay. So all of this information should now be able to be synced back to scene. First of all, we'll just drop into another view, and I'll just show you the 3D view and how we can do this similar task in 3D view. So we just go now and click the 3D icon at the top right hand corner, which is going to load in our points in 3D. So if we just again move around slightly, just pan around slightly till we find an object of interest, we can then double click on that object and it will zoom us into the 3D position. So just find this valve down at the bottom here. We'll just double click on that there, and again we can now go to the annotate tab, and we can do this as an area annotation or a point annotation. So let's do a point annotation this time, and we'll again just give this a name, So we'll call this one valve 2. And we can put another description in. So just call this to be replaced or to be repaired. Add a link in if we wanted to. Put this in a category and put this into the valves. Give this the valves tag. So everything will be differentiated between tags and categories. Let's just drop back into the overview map there now. And just to show you, the top icon in the action bar now allows us to toggle what's visible in the overview map. So we can turn off the annotations, we can turn off the scans, we can turn off any measurements we've got. First of all, maybe let's go and add another measurement in. So we can go and do a quick area measurement in here. So we'll take an area measurement of this second tank. Just take some points around the outside. And we just give this again a name, so we can call this one tank 2. Save that measurement, put it into the category of replacements, and we can give that the tag of tanks. Okay, that's just going to give us that area measurement, and just to show you, we can turn those on and off in the overview map. Last thing we'll do is we'll just drop an ortho photo in here. So if I go to the take ortho photo button and use the facade view tool, we'll just pull that out there across this pipe spool, and we can switch the direction and adjust the depth until we get the exact area we want to take the orthographic photo of. And we change that depth slightly, select the scans that are to be used in the ortho photo creation. We can then change the elevation range, change the resolution of the image if we want to. So just make that slightly more, slightly higher resolution. Choose colour or black and white. We can use the gap filling tool if we want to. Let's give this a name, so we'll give this one the name pipe spool. We can enter some descriptions about it if we want to. So again, pipe spool for inspection. We can add a link to a document if we want to. We're going to put this in the repairs category, and we're going to give this a tag of pipes. So again, we're building up a bit of a database of information that we're going to bring back into scene. Now this is just being pushed into our job queue, so it will be created in the cloud, and we'll be able to view that later on. Just dropping into the project content, and now you can see all of this information that we've created, and this is all of the information that should be brought back into scene when we do the import from Webshare Cloud data. So we're now going to go back to FARO scene and open up this same project. So first of all, let's go to the Explore tab and have a look at this data in 3D. If we just zoom in here now, you can see none of the annotation or measurements that we created in the cloud are currently visible or currently in the project. So what we now need to do is go to the Import tab and use the Import Webshare Cloud icon, which is going to open up a separate interface, and we're just going to put on our logon details for Webshare Cloud and click Next Step to select the projects. It's given us now a recommended project, which is obviously the correct one with the same URL identifier. However, we can also change that and select a different project, and we have a quick import tab here which will basically batch or bring across everything. I've unticked quick import, and we're just going to look at some of the filters. So we can filter this to import only objects created by ourselves or by other users. We can then change which categories we're bringing through, so depending on which objects we have in which categories. We can change which object types, so I have here all or none, or I can choose which annotations, measurements or ortho photos I want. And we can also change which tags to bring through, which tagged objects. So we've got a list here now of objects to be updated, which will be the transformation of the scans, and objects to be created. So we're going to be creating 9 different objects here. Next step to apply the changes, so we have updated 3 objects and created 9 objects. It's then given us a list and a final report, which we can then save out as a text file. So if we close that import, and now we're just going to have a look at the same view in the Explore view. So let's zoom in now. Now we can see if we just click on this in the 3D view, it's linking to it in the structure tree. We can open up the properties, and here's our description that we gave it in Webshare Cloud. Again, if we just navigate around and just find the measurement of the pipe length, so there we are. There's that same measurement that's been linked back from Webshare Cloud and synced into our current project. It's obviously visible in the structure tree, and now we have some information about that measurement. First of all, we'll just look at the ortho photo. So you can see we've actually got the ortho photo synced back through as well. And if we just zoom out slightly, we can see the tank annotation, or the area annotation that we used. And there we have the properties about that annotation as well. So tank to be removed. We also created an area measurement which is synced back through as a measurement, because I'm not using the area function. So we've got an overall length that we created from those measurements, and that is located beneath that tank, although in perspective view we can see that there.